Welcome back to Kettlebells and Cocktails. I'm John with my bestie, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I saw a lot of really, really cute baby photos and videos this weekend, so I'm good.
Are they mine?
Of course. Who else? I don't know any.
Okay.
I don't
I
know
was
any
like,
other
who else is
babies.
sending you? Who else is sending you baby pictures? Not fair.
You're like, who's cheating on me with other babies? No,
Seriously.
no,
Oh
just
yeah,
your
because I
baby.
I I texted you that video of him laughing for the first time.
Oh, so cute. So cute. And then all the corresponding photos. I loved it. So it was I spent the whole weekend sitting around watching football and looking at photos of your kids. So it was a good weekend. Good
I have
times.
like a short list of people that I like whenever I get like take a really cute photo, I like send it immediately. I like text it immediately before I like, decide like which ones to post or which ones to like put in my story or whatever. And John is one of those people because I'm like, there's a short list of people that actually give a shit about my baby. Like everyone's like, oh, it's a cute baby. But there's like a short list of like your close friends that you can inundate with baby photos and they won't totally hate you. John is one of those people.
Hey, I like the baby photos. It remind me of my kids when they were babies.
It's why I do it.
Yeah, they're cute.
Yeah.
Brings back all those memories. So
Yeah.
it was a nice time. And speaking of niceness, we have the nicest guest ever. An OG to the show, by the way. Kari Pearce is with us. Kari, how are you?
I'm great. And how are you today?
I am good. You are an OG. You were on like episode 3, I think, if I remember. I don't even remember what episode it was. It was so long
Yeah,
ago.
it was right around there. I was like, it was either like 3 or 4, but yeah, it was right near the beginning, which is actually really cool when we filmed in Columbus or recorded in Columbus.
Oh, it was ridiculous. I like in those days, I had like, no fear whatsoever of reaching out to people. And I'm like, and I didn't know you could do stuff via Zoom. So Carrie was down in I think it was the Rogue Invitational. Yeah, it was Rogue Invitational.
Yep.
You just competed there. And I messaged you before the Rogue Invitational, which I would never do that today with anyone. You just don't message athletes before they compete. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to come down to Columbus. Can you be on the podcast? And you were so nice. And you're like, yeah, but not while I'm competing. So why don't we do it after? And because I was now committed, I'm like, sure, I'll drive 2 hours and do this. And I show up and it's like in your hotel room and like you're all beat up from the weekend. And you were just the nicest for doing that. Kicked off my podcast. And here we are, like almost 200 episodes later. So
There we go. That's amazing. Honored to be part of the beginning of it.
I
And cool to
know.
see it
Was
grow.
that the episode? Did you guys like do like a rap battle or something? Was that one?
No, no, I made her complete rap songs. I did a sentence from a rap song or a lyric from a rap song and made her guess what the corresponding, like words I was leaving out were. I don't know why I thought that would be funny at the time. In hindsight, it was still very funny, but
I mean,
Hey, it's
yeah,
what
I
Nikki
liked it.
remembered.
yeah.
Yeah, that was before. That was pre-N
Yeah,
or
PN,
PN
pre-Nikki.
pre-Nikki times. So I was just a listener, and yeah, that's totally what I remember. And then we had you on just with the three of us before
Mhm.
we have right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're for sure repeat. There are not a lot of people who have been in every stage of. You were PN times, you were Make Pods Great Again, and now you are Bells and Cocktails. Very cool.
Yeah.
I know.
I love it.
Man, she's
I
seen
love it.
everything this show could ever be. And because we're very professional now, Carrie, we actually have sponsors. So let's talk about our sponsor, Nikki, before we jump into this, which
Okay.
is RP Nutrition, right? RP? Am I remembering
Yeah,
right?
RP is our sponsor. Yes. And I'm very excited that they're on board personally because they've been really helping me out for the last couple months. So I have been working with RP, working with a coach one-on-one and following their breastfeeding nutrition templates. And that has been really, really helpful for me because I have big goals of like getting back to where I was performance wise in the gym and getting back to where I was physically and aesthetically. And it's hard, man, when you're breastfeeding. There's no about food or yourself or showering, but that's beside the point. And you're like starving all the time. And so I was eating like a 14-year-old boy and I was like, who let me go grocery shopping because I only bought Pop-Tarts and like Cocoa Puffs. So I've been working with them for the last couple of months with a coach one-on-one, like I said, and that's been really helpful to just like kind of undo all the bad habits I got into when I first came home from the hospital and first was like, oh, I can eat whatever I want. And I've been feeling really, really good. So I'm glad to have them on board because I like to share that message. And if anyone's looking for help nutritionally, whether it's, to lean out or to get stronger or to whatever your particular goals are, RP is a really, really nice way to do that. They have templates you can follow. They've got coaches, they've got an app. And I know, John, you in the past have tracked your food and your macros and stuff. And it's a macro counting system that, I don't know, it has worked for me. This is the third time now. I used them when I ran a marathon in 2017. I used them to lose the quarantine 15 that I gained. And now I'm back with them in the breastfeeding template. So if anyone else out there wants to try, we do have a code to share. It is KC10. That'll get you 10% off of a whole bunch of stuff on their site that I'm looking up right now, just so that I can be sure. It doesn't. Go ahead.
Will they allow Cocoa Puffs? Because you went so heavy about Cocoa Puffs were bad. I'm just curious if they're going to allow them for you.
So that's the beauty of counting macros, right? Is like, yeah, technically. I mean, the reason I like them is because they're very they promote whole foods and you're not going to be hungry and you're going to starve yourself, but you're going to, there's categories of foods. There's meats that are good, proteins that are good. There's carbs that are good. Cocoa Puffs are not on that list, but sometimes I just want them. If you can fit them in and it works with your numbers, you can do that. So KC10 will get you 10% off of the monthly app or the templates, not the one-on-one coaching, but I do think that's worth it. If you can splurge and you need a little bit of accountability, I recommend it.
Well, there you go. And when you wrap up this non-Cocoa Puff eating template that you're doing with RP, I know someone who can get you really killer abs. So I hear.
Oh, really? I would love to hear all about it.
Kari, so how the heck are you, man? I feel like I haven't seen you or talked to you in forever.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but I think it's because I follow Make WODs Great Again. Then I feel like I see you all the time, or at least hear you, or you make me laugh, even though you're not directly doing it. But I'm really good. All is going well. As people may or may not know, I retired after the Rogue Invitational. So now living a different kind of life than the competitive athlete. And as you said before, focusing on my business, Powerabs.
There you go, man. So just living the retired life, doing nothing, watching TV all day, hanging out, eating Cocoa Puffs.
Well, I mean, I actually would eat Lucky Charms during competition, and people gave me a hard time for that. And it was because of RP. Nick, I worked with Nick, who was there, and he's like, yeah, you want high glycemic carb when you're working, or when you're especially competing, or if you're doing 2-a-day workouts. So my go-to was Lucky Charms. It was something I had when I was actually 11 years old, and I won a national championship. I had Lucky Charms that morning for breakfast. So then kind of continuing on, I would eat Lucky Charms, and people would make fun of me because I would just have this box of Lucky Charms and just eating out of it. But hey, if it works, why switch it,
Hey, we have this place that's an hour from here, maybe an hour and a half, in Ashland, Ohio, called Grandpa's Cheese Barn. And Grandpa's Cheese Barn has a candy shop attached to it. And there you can buy entire bags of nothing but Lucky Charm marshmallows. And my daughters will routinely on trips beg to stop at this place. And my oldest will buy a full, and when I mean a full bag, Kari, I mean a 5-pound bag of nothing but marshmallows. And I know nutritionists are going to hear this, think I'm the worst dad ever, but she'll just sit in the back seat and just pound these little marshmallows for hours. It's great.
The marshmallows are the only good part. They're the only good part.
Well,
you got to earn the marshmallows though. You get the other whole grain or whatever that goes with it. And when I was a kid and I would eat it with milk, then you eat all the whole grain ones, and then you save the marshmallows for the end because it's the best part.
Of
so
course.
You treat yourself once you finish the rest.
Yeah, mine does not earn the marshmallows. Mine has that enviable 20-year-old metabolism where she can just pound food for hours upon hours upon hours, and she's just skinny as hell. It's it'll catch up to her eventually, but for now I hate her. So.
Yeah,
that's why you have her sitting in the back eating marshmallows.
Yes, because I can't share in the marshmallow. I eat one marshmallow, I gain 5 pounds. She's back there just pounding by a handful. So
seriously. Well, Kari, I am made of questions because first of all, congratulations on making this big step in your life. Well deserved. I mean, you have just
Absolutely.
an insane like legacy of competition and podium and everything under your belt now. But I'm just so curious to know, like, after the end of last season that ended on such a crazy high, like what was the trigger that made you say, like, all right, I think I'm gonna back off of this competition thing.
So, I mean, my mind was pretty set going into the games that was going to be it. Like I was done even after last year. I talked to Justin, my coach, and I was almost ready at that point after I made podium. I was like, I've done what I wanted to do. And I don't know, like if I have it in me mentally to like go another year. Physically, I feel great. And I think it's just, due to COVID last year, all the craziness and the stage 1, stage 2, it was a lot. And talking to the other athletes, like they agreed it was a lot. Like I said, mainly mentally, you had to try and stay peaked from the end of July to then the games ended up being basically the end of October. So it was just a long time and couldn't have ended any better on the podium. And so we talked and he's like, are you still having fun? I was like, yes. And then Danielle Brandon and Bethany Shadburn and a couple other athletes moved to Las Vegas. So I was training with them and I was like, okay, this is still like a lot of fun getting to train with them, push each other. And I was like, okay, like let's do another year. And go semifinals, West Coast Classic was incredible. Me, Bethany, Danielle, 1, 2, 3. But then as I was training for the games, it's just that level of intensity. Like I said, that takes a mental toll on you, like just pushing yourself to the limit every day. Like you can work out, like anybody can work out that many hours, but pushing yourself to the extreme is way different than just going through motions. And for me, like if I do something that I'm all in and like training for the games, like I could feel that like this was a good point to go out. And then, it didn't end the way that I wanted. And I didn't get to compete because of COVID. So I had to take a step back and decide what I wanted. And once I got invited to, like I asked Justin, so if I get invited to Rogue, can I compete there? Like, do you think I'll be ready to go? And he's like, well, I mean, that really depends. Like COVID hits everybody differently. So he was like, I can get you back to where I want for Rogue. And I was like, okay, like I feel confident going into that and like being able to perform and having this like end on my career.
And how did you recover? I mean, it hasn't been all that long in comparison. I mean, some people's road to recovery from John was knocked out for months, not feeling like himself, I remember.
Yeah, just terrible.
Yeah, I think it hits everybody differently. Like for me, it was 2 days that were like pretty bad. So I tested positive on Wednesday and then like later on Wednesday and then Thursday, I was feeling pretty crummy. And then Friday, I was just tired, but like the body aches and body chills were much, much better. And getting back into train, I think I got back into training, like, after the 14 days, I like slowly started to build back up. And like after a week, I was like, okay, I'm feeling good. And I mean, my legs were weak, but my legs are always tend to be weak. They just don't like to, they don't like to hold on to strength. I feel like I have to squat like every day and still they get weaker where I don't do upper body and my upper body lifts go up. But like cardio wise, I felt fine. I felt good. And then going into Rogue, I felt fit. I mean, mentally, I was still having fun and I like prepared myself like that was going to be the last one. And I was there to have fun and just enjoy it. I wasn't there to win. To be 100% honest, like I just wanted to enjoy the experience, take in all the moments and everything that kind of came with it and have closure on my competitive life, I guess, my competitive career.
That's wild. I was so happy that you took the competition floor one more time because we love watching you so much. And it was emotional. Like it was an emotional thing to see someone who we've seen in the sport for so long. And like also just kind of like leap to the top. Like I remember your first regional, like it was me and you. And I feel like every single interview I did with you, I was like, when did you start this again? Like, remind me how long you've been doing this. Cause at that point it was like seriously only a few months.
Yeah.
And it was
which is great.
Yeah, crazy. And it was wild it was emotional for me to watch you and when the weekend closed, I just had it in my mind. I was like, oh, what is she doing tonight? Like what is it like when like your last competition is done?
Right. I mean, it was similar to any other way I reward myself after a competition, went out for tacos with the crew, and then got ice cream and just enjoyed it. And the next couple of days I got to spend with my family. Um, and I feel like, yeah, it wasn't anything out of the ordinary from like a normal competition. And, but then like after that, like when I came back and it was like, okay, now I don't necessarily have to like think about training, but we ended up I had a video shoot for Powerabs. We ended up coming out with a strength program. So it was Fit Strength that we ended up filming that following weekend. So it wasn't like a full on like, oh, retired, like you get to chill, you get to relax. It was like a few days and then back on it, like with my team, figuring out everything going on there. So it was nice having at least like a day, I guess actually it was. And then the next day jumped on the phone with them to figure things out. But it's been a nice change of pace, not worrying about like the stress of training along with the business.
How were you able to find that balance for so long? I mean, a few things I think people don't recognize is how many hours you have to train to be a competitive athlete. I mean, it's a easily 40, 50 hour a week job doing that. And it's a real job. And then you've got this, and to boot, fittest American female ever. So it's not like you were just kind of half-assing it. Like you were pretty good. And then during all this Powerabs thing is just taking off, which is a full-time job. Like, how are you balancing all of that?
I have always wondered this. I have never understood how you've been able to do, but it's mind blowing to me.
Thank you. Well, first and foremost, I mean, I can't take all the credit. Like I have an amazing team that I work with that handles a lot of the behind the scene things. So I'm like the creator of it. I do all the content and everything like that, but they're the ones that market it, that make all the magic happen. So without them, like it wouldn't be nearly as big as it is or as fun as it is. And so I have them who help me every step of the way. But in addition to that, like, I mean, I would get up in the morning and the first thing I would do, I would check like Instagram and Facebook for messages or anything related to the business. And then I would get in my first session. And then after that, like between sessions, then same thing, check anything that I might be getting related to the business. I eat and then go to the gym. And I mean, for the most part, like I was able to shut myself off from the business every once in a while. Like if it was a launch day or an important day, then I would like have my phone and like check it every half hour to hour just to make sure there wasn't anything I was needed for. Cause every once in a while, things happen, catastrophes happen, and I needed to be like ready for anything. And then at night, then I would attend to anything I needed to, whether it was like videos or writing posts or content or whatever it was. So it really was just like, it was a lot, but I love it. And I think because like when I was training, it was all about me. It was all about me being better and pushing myself and that. And then it turns to Powerabs and now I'm focused on other people. So it was really nice having this balance where it's like, it's me, myself, and I, and like training. But then when it turns to Powerabs, then it's just so rewarding knowing you're helping all these people. And it takes my mind off of myself because CrossFit, when you're a competitor, it can be all you think about. And I needed that like mental, like get away from the gym. Like I don't watch any CrossFit videos. Like I still haven't watched like the 2020, the event of, I forgot what it's called, but I still haven't watched that. And people are like, how have you not watched it? I mean, honestly, like I just don't like watching myself and I don't like watching CrossFit. Like I would every once in a while if a competition was on, but I like to just mentally get away from it. And so I think just finding that balance, and then like Sundays all day I would spend working, and it was like this 7-day a week thing, like no break, but I love it. And like I said, when you're impacting other people's lives and you're getting better yourself, like I loved it all, but it was just to a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Well, and what you created is such a social business. It has really been interesting for me to watch. Like as a creator, knowing that you're creating this is interesting enough. But then I've had just dozens upon dozens of people over, the last year or so going, oh, I'm doing Powerabs and I just can never help myself. I just have to start asking, like, how'd you find out? And it's always, I found out from this person or a friend of a friend told me. It isn't like they're just seeing your ads, or you've got this little social network of people telling other people and their little testimonials of how much they're getting from it. And to your point of helping, like I normally kind of roll my eyes at fitness programs I see online because they're all really similar. And with yours, I feel like I've had so many people tell me how empowered and how good they feel about themselves from the results they get from it and the connection to your network of people, which is really interesting. Was all of that intentional for you? Were you like, you trying to create this network, or was that just kind of an unintended consequence? It's a blessing, for lack of a better term.
So it ended up being an unintended consequence. We actually like just had a call with my team earlier, and we were talking like, Powerabs started because I got compliments on my abs and wanted to come out with an ab program for people out there. And it started off kind of as this side project. Then people ended up doing it and seeing the results, and it just like they felt better in their own skin. And like we, even in the beginning, like we had people go to the beach and take off their shirt that had never felt comfortable doing that for the first time, or people like didn't have lower back pain that have had lower back pain. Like this guy who just biked a lot was like, today during my ride was the first time I didn't have back pain, and that's all I could think about. So that's kind of how it started. And then as it grew, then it grew into this amazing community. And yeah, we have a Facebook group that's almost at 75,000 people. And it is such an amazing place because everybody's super positive. Everybody keeps each other accountable. And like you said, it's like this big, happy power family. And, it started, like I said, as a little project and then just kind of continued to grow. And we had a lady who was in charge of the Facebook group and didn't have any negativity. If someone was negative, first time she would warn them, second time warn them, third time you're out. Like there was no nonsense with that, because women have just been able to open up, like unlike they have in any other way or any other group. And they just feel comfortable with this group of women and now more confident in their own skin. And, we started off as Powerabs, and then we did legs and glutes and arms, and then we just did high intensity, and now just strength. So it's like kind of taken off in different ways. But yeah, definitely started off as a little project and now it's grown into something bigger than I could have ever imagined.
Yeah. What is the new program? Because there was like just a launch, like kind of like right after your retirement, you were like, and ta-da, I've actually also been working on everything all at the same time still, turns out.
Right. Yeah. So it actually released today. It's called PHIIT Strength. And so it's like a strength training program for women, which honestly, like I think might be my favorite program, just because number one, women tend to shy away from strength training because they don't want to be bulky. They don't want to get muscles. They don't think they need it. And they do. A lot of them are cardio bunnies because they don't know what to do. And especially older women getting osteoporosis, or, just being able to do what you want to do and not have somebody judge you. And I've seen obviously myself and a lot of other athletes, especially CrossFit athletes that I follow, get multiple comments, people reaching out like, oh, you look like a man, you have muscles or whatever. And so I'm excited to release this program because it's mainly geared toward women. Obviously men can do it as well. But just because they have shied away from strength training. So yeah, it was just released.
I hope the beginning of your videos have a disclaimer that say you're not going to smile the way Kari does when you lift these weights. Because I watch your videos and you're like squatting dumbbells and you're just smiling the whole time. And I'm sitting there cursing you under my breath because you're using the same weight I use. And I never smile ever, like ever, ever, ever. And like you make it look so much fun. And I'm sure it's attracting people to your program, but I know better.
Yeah.
So
that's everyone's like, I can't smile like you do. I'm like, that's fine. You just, as long as you're doing it, that's fine. I'm the one that's having fun that needs to remind you that it is fun.
I just think think it's so important that people in your position who have had success in fitness turn around and find a hole in the market or a gap or wherever, like not necessarily not like a gap in the market for a business, but a gap in the market for like a positive mentality, because it is so important for women who aren't familiar with this stuff. And it's easy for us to talk about because we're all CrossFitters and we're like, yeah, lift weights, clang and bang, whatever. And like, the more weight, the better. But we are such a niche, and there is such a huge group of women out there who they want to be healthy. They want to be fit. They want to be able to pick up their kids and all their groceries at once, or they want to look a certain way, whatever their goals are. And like you said, like they don't know because they're terrified of the judgment or the misinformation or the this or the that. And like women, especially who have done what you've done, Kari, and who've accomplished what you've accomplished in different sports now, in gymnastics and in CrossFit and in weightlifting. Like, I just think you're setting a standard and you're setting an example that will change people's lives and change people's like mental health about all this stuff too. I just think that's so important. Like, it's underrated.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like I'm honored to be in the position that I am and have the platform that I am, because so many people can relate. And actually, when I was a personal trainer before I got into CrossFit, and a lot of the women there like ended up hiring me as a trainer because they were intimidated to go into the weight section of the gym because it was the quote unquote like man section, and like the women's section was the cardio section. And just like seeing that, just like the people that I worked with there, and that's just in one gym, like, it happens all around the world. So it's just like, I'm just honored that I have the platform to be able to spread this kind of knowledge and take advantage of my accomplishments. And so people trust me to then do the program and then see the benefits and become part of this amazing community that we have. I'm like the face of it, but then there's all these other women that inspire. Like, we have moderators in the Facebook group, and one of them actually ended up being in fit strength because everybody looks up to her. She's a 48-year-old woman, a mother of 2. And like, it was just really cool having her be in the program, and people like can directly relate to her, because we have like, no matter what your age, like I'm 32, she's 48. So I'm like, I want to look like that when I get 48. So yeah.
Do you find that all these stories you learn within your community are helping you create content?
Oh.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, between the stories and like, I think one reason we've been so successful is because we listen to our members and what they want. Like, we start off with abs, and then people are like, well, we want a glutes program. So then we came out with glutes. Oh, what about arms? Oh, what about legs? Oh, what about a HIIT program or cardio or something? Oh, what about strength training? So I think like one reason is we've listened to like what our members want, and they're not shy about saying what they want too, which is really good. And we have a stretching course too, because they wanted a stretching course. So it helps definitely with the new programs. It makes it easy. It's like, okay, what do you guys want? And they tell me, and then I'm like, okay, I can create it. Or if I can't, then I can find someone else. Like Rachel is like the face of glutes, because she has a background in bar and dance. So it's like, you're much more fitting for that. Like, you got it.
Well, okay. So, I mean, running this is a full-time job. Of course, now we've just gone from back-to-back full-time jobs to one full-time job, which is what, the rest of us are trying just to survive doing. But now that you have the one job that kind of gives you a little bit more breathing room, right? Like, you're not like rushing to and from the gym, and mentally also, like, business is a whole different mindset, but at least you're not stressing about a competition. Like, what else do you have going on now? Like, are you doing just like more fun personal things? Are you traveling, hobbies, relationships? I'm just asking what we all want to know. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, after Rogue, I like took a few days, and then we had Fit Strength. And I mean, now I am more invested in the business. So the business is taking more of my time than it was before. But I just went to St. Louis, and it was amazing. Like, being able to travel and not be like, oh, I have to do this amount of training, or I have to eat this food or whatever. So it is nice, like, just being able to relax a little bit, like when I travel, and like enjoy the experience or enjoy the people that I'm with and learn from them, and just get to spend more time with them, because Powerabs signed a deal with First Form. So I went there and just went to the headquarters and got to enjoy the experience. And I feel like before it'd always be like, okay, when are we training? When's my food? Like, what, like, it would just be, everything is so planned out. And like, even for Thanksgiving, like, I'd be like, okay, well, I need to work out this amount of time, and I can't eat this. And going home for Christmas, like, I need to check when the gym is open, and then schedule my eating and my training and everything. So I'm excited just to not have everything so planned out all the time. And yeah, now like I turned on Netflix the other night for like an hour, and I was like, this is great. And so just enjoy like that kind of stuff, I feel like is nice.
I watched Netflix for an hour before we came on the air to do this.
So. I'm like, that's wild. That's the level of dedication. Like, I don't understand. And none of us do. That's the thing. That's how it is such a full-time gig, I think, is something that we forget as viewers of the sport,
Yeah. And that's, I'm just gonna say this real quick too. Like, and I think that's like Matt Fraser came out and said that kind of stuff. And I don't think like people get it, like when someone says it, but I don't think people understand. Like it's 24/7. Like I need to sleep, I need to eat. Like, and even going out to eat, you're like, I don't want to go out to eat, not only because it's not food that you don't necessarily eat, but also because it's time that you're sitting in a chair doing nothing, where you could be at home sitting in your recovery boots or taking a bath or something else that's related to the recovery. It's like, that's how your mind works. Like, oh, I have to travel. Like you don't travel very much, but if you do, then it's like, okay, my flight, I'm going to book a flight so I can train here in the morning first and then eat or whatever, like, and then travel after that. It's like even hiking on a Sunday, like you don't want to get too tired. It's like everything you do is centered around training.
Oh my goodness.
So what's the
But
one
it's
thing
great. Like it's amazing and I loved it. But sorry, John.
Of course.
No,
Of
you're
course.
fine. What's the one thing on Thanksgiving you're going to eat this year that you haven't been able to eat in years past?
I don't know
Besides
if there's
all
like
of it.
necessarily one thing. I'm not a big pie person. I love ice cream though. And I mean, usually there's like ice cream when there's pie. So I'm just going to get a lot of ice cream.
That's fair.
But and I love like, and usually I like eat mashed potatoes, but I'll have like a little, cause I'm like, oh, like I don't want too much of them. So I'm definitely gonna like have more mashed potatoes and probably sweet potatoes too. So I'll just like double up on the potatoes. And I love turkey. I love ham. I'm not a big stuffing person, but what about you guys? What are your guys' favorite?
You're not a big stuffing person. Oh my God. What are you talking? It's just bread. It's just balls of bread. It's the greatest
but it
thing
has,
on
like,
the planet.
Has like sage in it. I don't know. I'm not a big like sage and stuff. I don't know.
Sage is a tough one. Thyme is also a tough one. You got to get a
Maybe
good
it's
spice
thyme.
mix in there. It tastes like
maybe
dirt.
it's I don't know. I don't know. Usually has like too many different spices. It's just too much for
I
me.
hear that. I hear that.
I don't know.
I think it's wild that you guys have been through the ringer in that sense, because that, like, even just thinking about the things that you have to think about when you're competing is exhausting. But I love that you've had such a positive mentality about the whole thing this entire time, and that you are able to kind of like retire and enjoy yourself and be like, okay, now I'm going to just do these things, and that's okay. Because I think the danger in being in that competitive mindset for so long is you'd start to develop like really unhealthy relationships with time management or with food or with, the stress of training. And I'm sure it can be tough to like walk yourself back from.
Yeah, definitely. But I think like that was one thing, like I knew I was ready. And sometimes like any athlete, they're either you're going to be ready and you're going to retire when you're ready, or something is going to happen and you're forced to retire. I'm just very lucky. Like in gymnastics, when I finished, like I knew the end was coming. I made it to the end and I retired peacefully. CrossFit, I could feel the end was coming. Like I'm very pleased with everything that I was able to accomplish. And like my last memory at the games was being on the podium, like crying in Justin, my coach's arms, and then earning that spot on the podium. And because I won Atlanta. So I think just like the way everything kind of piled, and then I have this amazing business that I like can transfer my focus to. Like we started it in December 2018. So we've been working on it for a while, and it's at a point where I'm just like, I'm ready for this next step. So I feel very fortunate that everything just kind of like worked out, and I couldn't have asked for better.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me about athletes that go into business, particularly in CrossFit, and I think the two big examples prior to you, Kerry, are probably Rich Froning, who I know is still competing, but we don't count team. And kidding, we count team. I'm kidding.
Oh, cue the hate mail.
I'm getting the hate mail. And obviously Matt, who's kind of newly retired, but also launching a lot of business ventures. And I think the thing that's interesting for me is that athletes that are highly successful, like you were, typically do really, really well in business because you're very driven, but you know how to be coached and you know how to work well within teams. And you've already said it multiple times on this podcast about what a great team you have. And I suspect that lends very well for you in the future. You already know this, you're going to be successful, but for anyone else listening, this is my prediction. Your programs are going to continue to skyrocket because you understand how to be coached and how to work well within a team. And it sounds like it's already taken hold for you, which is great to see.
Thank you. And that's something I've like talked to people too. It's like, and the amazing team, and just like my personality too, just being like all in, like I'm all in. And that was something like with competing and business, like it was great, like being able to balance it for as long as I could. But I was like, I want to be all in, like for the business. And yeah, having my team, like, cause they're all in. And I mean, they had my back when I would compete. I would do all the planning ahead of time and everything. But it's, yeah, I mean, you have to have that team, and yeah, just having the discipline. And I want to be the best that I can be. I don't know much about business. So the main guy that's in charge, like he's teaching me along the way, which I think is cool. Cause like, I know a lot about fitness and the human body, but I don't know much about business. And now what I know is what I've learned from him. So it's just kind of like continuing to learn and like get this new knowledge and build this new skill.
Well,
So do you have any like new or additional programs coming out in the works? I mean, I know you just launched one, so it might be a little bit of a short ask, but like, is there anything else that you're like, oh, I really hope that Powerabs can, or PHIIT Strength or whatever can like evolve into, I don't know.
Yeah, no, we just released PHIIT Strength, and there is no new programs coming out, at least that we plan. You know, things change through the end of the year, but we do have some exciting things like coming for the new year. And we have something else that is supposed to launch tomorrow that people will find out about. So I'm really excited. Like I said, we always have a lot going on. But yeah, tomorrow's a big one that our members have been asking about for a while. So as long as everything goes smooth, then you guys will be seeing it on my Instagram. So I'm not going to say anything right now. But it will be tomorrow.
Right?
I'm like, this launches on Friday. You should say it now because on Friday it'll be
this
live.
Is Friday.
Oh, okay. Well, I was like, I mean, I know now, but I didn't know when you guys would launch it. And
it's all good.
People just check my Instagram from hopefully Tuesday, because if anything goes wrong and then it's not, and then it ends up being next week, I don't want to be responsible for it.
I'll break the
and
news.
we don't want to make John have to edit this. So
she's launching Power Sarcasm, and I'm going to be the face of the program.
Oh,
It's going to be perfect.
I would purchase it.
Would you?
Would.
Would you?
I would. I absolutely would.
You launched Powerabs because everybody complimented you on your abs. It's the only thing I get complimented on, Carrie, is my sarcastic approach to life. So when you're ready to launch Power Sarcasm, I'm your guy.
Okay. Well, it's like, I think
when you're ready to
body parts. So, you know, why not go into sarcasm?
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to launch Power Cursing, I got you.
Yo,
I got you
Nikki
down
owns
pat.
that one.
Okay. Okay. There we go. Maybe we got our next 2 programs for the new year, but nothing before the new year, please.
Speaking of,
you can bundle them for
Good.
Power How to Not Talk to Your Parents. Just saying.
Oh, look at this. I love it. How to not talk to your parents.
How does
your kids everywhere?
Yes.
How's your team feel about your questionable choice in college football teams?
Ooh.
They appreciate it, or
they actually support me because
they?
they know Michigan is a great, very good university, and so when possible, they actually mention that school too that I think I just mentioned.
So this is a true story tonight. My youngest daughter's looking at colleges, and obviously she's looking at Ohio State because it's state school here. And she comes home and she's like, oh, Ohio State, Michigan's playing this weekend. I'm like, I know, Kari Pearce is gonna be on the show tonight. I'm gonna make fun of her for it. And she goes, she's like, yeah, we're just gonna blast them again this year. How many years has it been, Daddy? I'm like, I don't know, like 9-10 years in a row or something. She's like, well, you know what the problem is? They're all too smart in Michigan. That's exactly what she said to me. She's like, the school's too smart. It's like Vanderbilt. They can't get any football players to come play. I'm like, baby, they're like 7th in the country right now. That's not their problem. Like,
yeah, what is Ohio State ranked in the country right now?
I want to say it's 4th, maybe, or 3rd or 4th. Wow. It's going to be a good game this year. This is going to be the first year in like the last decade that they're both going in the top 10 and both going for the Big Ten championship. Like, it's going to be a fun one. I'm excited. Yeah.
But unfortunately, like you said, it's been at least 10 years, because even since I've been in college, I don't think Michigan has won. So it's time. It's time.
Well, they skipped last year because of COVID.
Ann Arbor.
Yeah, it is in Ann Arbor, and they skipped last year because of COVID. I'm gonna put in air quotes. It wasn't COVID, let me tell you. You guys were scared, totally scared.
Oh,
it'll be fun to watch. Like, you can never tell in a game like that, in a rivalry game. Like, if you just go off the stats, you could pick, but you just can never tell. Like, these schools love to blow up each other's season. They love it. So
yeah. And it could be, any man's game. Like, I feel like a team could be like, have not won a game, and then they'll come out and beat the other team just because of the rivalry.
Well,
Like
and
save it
now,
all for the end.
well, and now you do have the home field advantage. Like, a year ago, it wouldn't have mattered with home field because no one was allowed in, but you put 100,000 in the big house, it gets rowdy. It'll be fun. It'll be fun
Yeah.
to watch
It will.
for
And
sure.
go.
Poor Nikki doesn't get this kind of experience up in Rhode Island. They have like high school
Go sports.
teams.
No, I'm just not a college football fan, but like, other professional sports.
Oh, this is the best like 2 weeks of football ever, Nikki. Like this weekend is rivalry weekend. I've got Thanksgiving food all day on Thursday, and then Ole Miss, Mississippi State Thursday night. And then over the weekend, I get Ohio State, Michigan. It's like all the good games are this weekend. It's perfect.
Yeah, I went to a D3 school. So yeah, I played D3 college volleyball. I'm gonna just throw that out there, humble brag.
Wow,
What's
look at
up?
you.
But yeah, not very impressive actually. It's like a club sport.
It's fine. Still volleyball. That's great.
That's right. I walked onto that team. What's up?
There you go. We have to have
They
some
really
hand-eye
needed
coordination.
people. They really needed warm bodies.
Love it. I love it.
Oh.
That's great.
Well, we'll see. If there's ever going to be a year that Michigan could do it, it won't be this one. But maybe next year. Maybe next year.
All right.
And next year, you're going to say the same thing. So it's fine.
Until you guys win one, I'm just going to stay on this train, and then I'll get humble, which I won't. But I'm
That's
saying
fine.
now I won't. So,
But I did gymnastics, and I wish I knew the record for gymnastics because all 4 years I was there, we beat them. So
Did you?
just saying. We are a 4-time Big Ten champ too. Just saying.
Nice.
Humble brag.
I know.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of wins. I don't know what she's talking about, but that
lot
sounds
of
like a
wins.
lot of wins, John. That's a lot.
It's a lot of wins for a sport people don't watch. It's a lot of wins. That's all I'm saying. It's great. Look, the parents were there. They were clapping politely. They were loving it.
Yeah.
No,
It was actually, I think the attendance for any women's sport, gymnastics was the highest, at least at Michigan.
I do love, that's one thing I love about colleges is, they typically only get attention for the two major sports, basketball and football. And then you start finding out about all these schools that you've known forever that have great track and field and gymnastics, and you meet people from that. And you're like, I had no idea they were good. Like I had no idea Michigan was good in gymnastics. Like, I mean, I knew you were good in gymnastics, but I had no idea.
My favorite is when you post like throwback videos of like yourself doing like competitive gymnastics or college gymnastics. It's like, those are my favorite because it's so cool. It's like what I watch on the Olympics, but it's you. Like, I know her. That's like so cool. It's like, and it's also, when you don't do it, it's like superhuman. I don't know how these people do these things with their bodies in the air. It's wild. I love it. More throwbacks, please.
Yeah. I just I look back to that stuff and I'm like, I don't know how I ever did that.
I get motion sick just watching.
That's been a thing lately with people doing how it started, how it is now. And they'll do like their, lifting video. That's what I want to see from you, Kari. It's like one of your first lifting videos, because you were one of the strongest athletes out there, bar none. And like getting to see someone at their beginning and then where they are now is always like, it gives me hope that maybe when I'm 60, I'll be able to lift a little weight. Maybe. I know I won't be, but you never know.
I do have a video like right after college when I did weightlifting for a little bit. And yeah, my first competition, I just like laugh at it when I watch it. Because I mean, I didn't know anything back then. Like I barely even knew what a clean and jerk and a snatch was. And then yeah, fast forward like 8 years, it's way different.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, Kari, thank you for catching up with us. Feels like we got to quit going 2 years in between interviews, I think. I don't. When was the last one, Nikki? Do you remember? How long ago was it?
Long time ago. Yeah, we'll do this again. I would love to do this again after we see what the next surprise launch is going to be.
Cool.
If it's power sarcasm, I'm going to be really upset. That's all I'm saying. My idea. I've already copyrighted
I'll save that one for you.
I've already copyrighted.
We can save that for you. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Perfect.
All right.
All right. Well, good luck this weekend to you, not to your team. And, big success in the future for all your programs. So thanks so much.
Of course. And thank you. And I guess good luck to you and not your team as well.
Perfect. Well, my team is Ole Miss. So you can wish them luck. You can wish Ole Miss luck.
Okay. Oh yeah, I hope they win.
There you go. Nice.
So
save.
wish them luck, and then they'll take all the luck from the other team.
Perfect. You know what? I will gladly concede an Ohio State loss if Ole Miss wins. Gladly. Completely. That's how I roll.
Perfect.
So
Okay, go Ole Miss.
There you
That's
go.
what we're gonna go for.
hotty toddy. All right. Nikki, your baby made it through the whole show.
I know. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm watching him on. He just spit the banky out. So that's
Did he?
actually, this is perfect timing.
There you go.
Oh.
All right. Well, this is fun,
Perfect.
guys. And for everyone listening, we appreciate you guys joining us, and we will chat with you guys soon.